Hi, I'm Alesha Tryed, and I'm bored in the house bored.
Hi, my name is Rob.
Hello, and just like Tia Coffee's outfit this week, I was not bought at the shop, I was made. Bondi.
And you're watching the second episode of 2.5 Queens.
Dun, 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 dun.
Welcome back to the show where we talk about everything RuPaul's Drag Race Series 2.
Today we will be talking about Rats the Rusical.
We're not going to waste any time. We're just going to carry on straight from where we left off last episode, where we lost Joe Black at the hands of Bimini Bum Boulash. We returned back to the workroom, and the only person who's really upset with the week's proceedings was Horror.
Shocker.
Just as predicted last week, roll the tapes.
I
want to see them go back next week. Estina's like, I'm the winner, and Horror's like, but you're wearing a jacket from ASOS. Horror was having none of it. That Estina won in an ASOS jacket because it was, as she described,
ASOS sale jacket.
disgusting.
I think you can already tell like very early signs of people kind of being like, oh, Horror's going off, like, and Estina completely shut it down. Estina was like, it is an ASOS jacket. ...
And then she did that dip and it was over.
Yeah, she's having none of it.
Yeah.
I won, get over it. It's time for episode 2.
Moving on.
We were straight on to RuPaul entering the workroom.
Yeah.
Hello!
There wasn't even a proper mini challenge this time. Instead, we were brought to a pole. Now, not like last year where we were dancing around the maypole.
I thought it was going to be that.
So did I.
Honestly, when they were like,
I was like, again.
A fucking again.
So the contestants had to vote in 4 categories. We have the Secretary of Shade, we had the Trade Minister, we had the Leader of the House of Lording It Up, and Baroness Basic, which absolutely nobody wanted. So I'm going to take you quick fire, we're not going to dwell on it.
No.
Who would you vote for each category? Secretary of Shade.
Horror will get it.
Horror. Trade Minister.
Cherry.
I would say Taste.
I think this is such a redundant phrase to call them all trade anyway, but if anyone, Taste is a beautiful name.
Tastes gorgeous.
Yeah.
They're all
The Leader
They're
of the
all
House of Lording It Up, so most cocky.
most cocky. You can't give a Horror 2.
I would have said Estina. So I think on the back of episode 1, I would say somebody who's won is going to feel a little bit cocky.
Exactly, I was going to say Estina for good reason.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be cocky if I
Same.
was her. And the very last category was the Baroness Basic.
The correct person got that title.
Does it?
Is all I will say.
I think Tia even knew it was going to her.
Yeah.
She dealt with it with the most humour and class. Her prize was to win who gets what role for the Rats for Rusical.
Yeah.
Yes. So it flips it round. Like you call
All
me
of a
Baroness
sudden,
Basic. Okay.
The power was in
Yeah.
Tia's hands, which is really great, but Tia decided not to play tactical with it. If you were in Drag Race, would you play tactical with it?
Absolutely. But
I'm glad she didn't, because I
Yeah.
think it made for the best show, and it actually ended up benefiting Tia, the fact that she made something that everyone wanted, so everyone felt comfortable and was able to do a pretty good job, and she didn't neglect herself. She picked a really good one for herself.
Yeah, it was cast very well.
So there was a hell of a lot of debate around who got what role. Speaking personally, couldn't give a shit.
Use your mouth.
Because
True.
we didn't know what any of the roles were, so there was just this long, prolonged drama of, will Veronica get the role? Will Cherry get the role? I don't know what role they want, so I don't
They
care.
didn't really explain, like, when they went down, I mean, it was only really until when we'll get to the bit where they're actually rehearsing, that we actually knew what each role represented and how it would have fitted their character.
I really respected Veronica that she knew what she wanted and she was gonna get it. And it wasn't rude, she just knew she was qualified for it. And she was like, I'm gonna get the role that I want.
Yeah, it wasn't rude, because if Cherry had gone out a bit further for what she wanted, maybe she would have got it, but she didn't. She said, I'm not going to beg. But Veronica wasn't like, oh please, dear, please. She just said, I can do this, I'm good at this.
15 years I have 15 years of experience in producing West End shows.
But even in this part alone, the episodes barely even got started, and Tia Coffey, I said this last week, is killing the confessional game.
Hilarious.
I'm just in stitches. I love her.
Yeah.
I am obsessed.
Tia.
She's very funny. She's
Yeah.
turned out to be the narrator so far.
What she lacks on the runway, she more than makes up for in personality.
Rob, how could you say something so rude?
That's absolutely not rude, and everyone, she's like the hiding closet of the series.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I spent the whole
Wait.
last episode dragging her, so.
We're looking to change that. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we can.
I
work
wouldn't count on it.
So we head to the runway. The queens have all picked their parts,
Yeah.
and it's time for some coaching from renowned singing superstar Michelle
Visage.
We felt like we were getting a bit of a pushback from Ahura, who was struggling to keep up with Bimini's energy.
I mean,
She felt like she couldn't keep up because she
Yeah.
was in a turtleneck and her fancy pants.
No shoes,
I
bitch.
felt
Bimini definitely is a little bit more like
Punk.
rough,
Yeah.
punk, exactly.
Mhm.
And Ahura was like, "Ooh," and I was like, you really just have to go like balls to the wall. You have to just do, we've seen before many queens who are completely like composed,
Yeah.
and they're having to get a little
Yes.
bit dirty and a little bit more wild out of their thing. And I think it's more to like pageant queens in America.
Like Trinity on season 9.
Yeah.
She's the one that stands out to me as someone who she came in and everyone thought, oh, same old thing.
Some people's general image is actually silly, and it works for them. So.
Yeah. I mean, we're here and we look silly.
But I mean, Bimini's energy is quite punk anyway. Ahura with her, year 10 L'Oreal Dream Matte Mousse out of drag face.
You better not.
The Dream Matte Moves.
I can't laugh too hard. I haven't got a concert. My dress
Medic.
will just burst off my
Boom!
bag.
We definitely saw a lot
Take
when
mine.
I was tasting Ellie together.
Yeah.
I feel like the biggest struggle yet again we found when we got to the Rat Pack with Sister, with Cherry, and with
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
Oh,
especially
gosh.
once it got to the choreography side of things, it was Lawrence who just broke down.
Yeah.
How did Lawrence's breakdown make you feel?
I think a lot of people, it kind of like snaps reality to them, I think, they're in the room, because I think you have such a head game on. Head
Mm.
game? Game head? So you have such a head game on, and you're
Head
just
game strong.
so focused on your lane that when you almost see it's like for comparison, say you were like driving a car, like a racing car.
Absolutely.
Oh, is that how-
driving a racing
Mum,
car?
Driving a racing
You
car.
are not getting your license, let me tell you.
Come on, Mario Kart.
So you're driving a racing car, and you're so focused on your lane, but then you look in the other lane, you're like, oh my god, that person's on fire or something. Like, you're not.
Oh my God.
You're gonna be like, hold on, this is real. This is Drag Race. This is emotional. This is a lot. So I think a lot of the
Dude.
queens were being like very snapped into reality, and I think they'd seen Lawrence. Well, we hadn't seen Lawrence yet, but they'd clearly seen Lawrence at this running the mouth moment.
That's the thing, Lawrence came in so
Confident.
in episode 1. And then episode 2, I don't know, by the time they melt down on stage, like I said it earlier, I know that I'd be kind of like sister. I'd be there and I'd be a bit like, do you want to wind your neck in?
That was like
Right.
the majority of what happened on stage.
Mm-hmm.
They go back to get changed. Unfortunately, we're subjected to the most uncomfortable 60 seconds of my life.
Oh, when I tell you, they were like, okay, so we've got the villain edit, we've got, a bit of an emotional things happening.
Now we need horny.
We need horny, we need romance, we need some forced love storyline.
Oh, there was no romance in it. They were just.
There is not a single bone in my body. Just to clarify what we mean here, we're talking about Ahura and Tace's
Rendezvous.
I was going to say rendezvous. This
Night
look
of
into
passion.
their backstory.
Backstory.
Do they still have a thing? Do they not? Right. Let's
Who
get
knows?
Let's,
Who cares?
Let's get this straight. This is not Love Island. This is RuPaul's Drag Race. I didn't care when it was Brooke and Benji.
I was about to say.
I do not care now. I really want this storyline to end pronto so that we don't have to talk
They're
about
already
it.
teasing of episode 3.
I love it. Yeah, they're teasing
Queens
it
were
as
like,
well.
oh, there's something going on. I was
And
like,
then
I
in the team,
could
they were
not
like,
care.
next week on Drag Race, more Taste and Horror shagging shit. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, this is what I'm like saying about staying in the lane. If I was in Drag Race, which may happen one day, okay.
Don't laugh. That's so rude.
When I go into Drag Race one day, I can't say it with a straight face. if one day I go into Drag Race, I'm going to be so focused that if the cameraman, do you ever see the one of Kelly Mantle?
Yep.
Where it was like,
Oh,
asked
Vivacious. That was terrible.
Oh, mama, it was terrible. They tried to drown me in the ocean. I'm like, oh my God, that's so awful.
Yeah, exactly. So if the cameraman was like, oh, what do you think about Taste and Horror's past life? I'm like, girl,
You're going to be like Cameron Michaels.
I've got an hour to get ready. Let's not dwell.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you're in Drag Race and you're just going down and everyone's got an emotional mirror moment? And there's me being like,
what would yours be?
I ripped my tights or something. No, I've got emotion, but like...
Alright, Mariah Carey.
I would like to see it.
I've got emotion with you. No, that's not the song, is it?
What song are you even singing?
Emotion by Mariah Carey.
Not in this planet.
Not in that key.
Not in this world.
Alesha said, I'm a songwriter.
Yeah, lyricist.
Holistic vocal.
Me, I am Alesha, the elusive Shantus.
So it's time to hit the runway. RuPaul is back again with another fantastic outfit. Not as good as last week, but I love seeing RuPaul get his legs out.
I loved the garment.
But-
Hated the colour.
Yeah.
The colour palette was giving me Sunday dinner.
Well, I liked it. Anyway, we had Michelle arrive. She looked a bit like Detox in Red You Wrote You. I think I reckon she was inspired by Joe Black last week, you know. Ain't the best, but she ain't the worst. And the guest judge for the week was a beautifully pregnant Sheridan Smith who had nothing to say but positivity all episode.
She looked great though.
Sheridan Smith was fangirling. She was like
was-
up
she
in the
was
front row, being like, finger clicking.
So it is time for the very first Rusical in Drag Race UK history. It's Rats the Rusical. Now before we get into actually rating individuals, how did you actually enjoy this Rusical?
Very much. It felt like something off the West End. Really? To me, it did.
Off
West End, yeah. School show.
I don't know. I was trying to like understand. I've watched it like 3 times now, and I've never seen Cats, so I don't know how much of it was based upon, like how much of a parody of Cats it was.
I enjoyed Rats the Rusical.
Yeah.
It felt like it had been written by a Brit rather than the same tired US people.
Yeah.
You know the American ones where they all end with that slow kind of da 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 da.
Yeah.
The Kardashians.
Now Kardashian the Rusical.
No, they made points.
That was a moment.
So overall, we enjoyed the Rusical. Who would you say were like the standout performers for you?
But my stand-up performer was actually Tia.
Standout performer was
So stand out like the best performer of the entire show for me was Tia. Or Ginny. She was great. Tia and Ginny I loved.
That wig.
I don't think you could deny Veronica being fantastic.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Veronica just felt like the consummate professional. Who did I laugh at most? The answer is Tia. Who did I think just was Veronica. So it depends what you're going for.
I agree with
the
you.
The humour wasn't brought by Veronica,
She was
overly
fab.
so, but like she felt like the lead lady.
I, like everybody else, as soon as Tia came on stage, I was like, I'm sold on everything that you are giving me.
The ones who stood out to you as the weakest?
I would have to say Cherry Valentine. When you are in a 3, so when you're working in a group, and you know,
Tell us more about your threesome experience.
when you are in a group, you've got to perform, you've got to shine, you've got to make it known, and I think it's so easy to blend in. Cherry might as well have been a tree in the background.
The one who did stand out as the worst to me, and it breaks my heart to say this, was Tace. Because she's the one that I noticed messing up the most. I could see Tace's eyes were sort of darting around.
Yeah.
She missed a few cues.
There
were words that sort of merged into one another.
Taste and Ellie's segment as a whole was just
I
messy
agree.
to me.
It was very
I thought
messy.
both Tace and Ellie were messy.
Taste and Ellie were messy.
So straight from the Rusical, we head to the runway, and this week's theme is
Surprise, surprise, shock!
That was really good.
There were a lot of looks this week.
You bitch!
I'm out.
So there were a lot of looks this week, and a lot reveals as well. I've got a feeling that's probably what the girls got told, that it was like a reveal category. So the first girl to take the runway was Horror. She went from groom to bride. How were we feeling about Ahura?
I liked it. I think it was two different ones as a reveal. I think it's quite clever to go from groom to bride because it's kind of like the same outfit and it can be quite a good reveal. I thought it was solid.
I thought it was one of the best concepts of the week. I really liked the idea of going from groom to bride. I just wish that I couldn't see the trousers.
That's what.
Once the bride was revealed,
The
I
dress
could see.
wasn't long enough.
It wasn't long. I kept seeing the trousers, so it took me out of the illusion. It was definitely a good look for me. So you're not agreeing?
Who's next? Like Raja O'Hara said, I'm not gagging.
Now, someone who I feel like you might be a bit more complimentary of, Ginny Lemon. They were iconic, right?
They did the damn thing on that runway. I just trust Ginny Lemon to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Leave it to Ginny.
Yeah.
And fair play to them for having the absolute gall, the nerve, the audacity to be doing that.
Has RuPaul in 13 seasons ever seen a hairy ass on the runway? No. It's about time.
It
Mama.
was so clever.
I gagged. I think that
Ginny.
was one of my favourites.
Honestly.
Do you know what it is? The runway theme was surprise, surprise for us. And by the time we'd had 2 runways, we expected reveals.
Mm-hmm.
So surprise, surprise was not getting a reveal. It was the same thing.
That is a surprise.
And then some people were like, oh, I'm not sure how I feel about that. To me, that was genius.
yeah, big
Yeah.
time.
But just in case you didn't know what to feel about that, how do you fancy a bit of crack?
Say crack again.
So from Ginny, who was one of my best, to, for me, my worst, Cherry Valentine.
Yeah. I think the message was great. But I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, when Ellie said just wear a lace front, girl, I was like, oh.
It was just too obvious. That is the
Yeah.
problem with Cherry. And in the words of Veronica Green, does the Pope shit in the woods?
Did you like the bus driver?
I liked the bus driver.
No.
My mum's the bus driver. Leave it out.
Is the
We're
bus
not
still
dissing
running?
bus.
Is the bus still running?
What's this
I
bus?
need to ask your mum, is the bus still running?
I hope the bus isn't still running because Tia threw her win under the bus with this look.
She threw a wig under the bus
We're
as well.
definitely moving on to Tia Coffee,
'Cause
who
it was
went.
flat.
I loved Tia's.
Performance.
No, the mask look. The sort of it was
The leather daddy.
The leather daddy.
Yeah.
I was like, where's this gonna go? I thought it was gonna go into like a leather moment.
Yeah, like
Like,
latex,
from-
like
from-
body clinching.
For me, I thought it was gonna go from like leather daddy to dominatrix.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it went from leather daddy to flamenco.
flamenco dancer. What the fuck?
I need to check. Tia, did you ever get that refund? Because I hope you did, boo.
This is Tia Coffee typing out her invoice.
She went. For me, I don't think the dress was even bad. The reveal didn't make sense at all.
yeah.
But the dress itself wasn't terrible. But then it was just like it had no shape to it.
No.
So from someone who I would say was probably one of our lowest, we move on to Ellie Diamond, who
Oh.
had 3 looks, all inspired by the Wizard of Oz.
Ellie.
I know this was one of your favourites, so I'm not going to suppress you any longer. Get it out.
Ellie Diamond. I thought, do you know what? The more you give me on that stage, the more I'm going to eat it up. And like, the Wizard of Oz is fantastic because you've got very distinctive characters.
Yep.
The Lion, the Tin Man. Now the thing
And the
is, and the wardrobe. I was actually going to say the Lion, the Witch, and the wardrobe. When I came out though, I did see the hair, and I was like, oh, that is styled like a lion's mane.
Yeah.
And
That was the last one, wasn't it?
that was the last one. So it was almost like, okay, I know where this is going, but I liked that the
I
Tin
didn't.
Man was in the middle.
I didn't know where it was going. I just thought, okay, she's gonna give us 2 looks like everyone else did.
For me, she's the opposite to Tia. Her looks are all fantastic. I'm just waiting for the charisma, uniqueness, nerve and talent to really fully come through. We've definitely seen it. I just think that Ellie, at this point, understandably, is 21
Yeah,
and is still a bit intimidated. I feel like I would love to see a bit of, you know how the way that Estina carries herself, and Estina knows she's that bitch. Ellie is also that bitch, but I'm not seeing that she knows it yet, and I really hope that she can cotton on to that quickly. So the penultimate look for the evening was Tace, who went from red to red to red, and then revealed a bit more red.
Red.
What was it first? It was like a red overall.
Mama, it was all red.
It was red.
It was all red.
Red. But
Red for filth.
Taste in the face.
Insane.
It looked great.
And the looks were. The problem is not that they were bad. She looked amazing in them. It was probably the least surprising, actually.
Yeah, it was literally exactly what they said. It was like corset under a bodysuit.
I just need Taste to push herself because I know
Yeah.
Taste is amazing. A potential winner in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, that Welsh Dragon look showed us that she's got it.
Literally, I just needed to keep pushing her.
To go from.
This was expected from Taste. It was expected,
Yeah.
and I'm frustrated. I'm like, come on, Taste.
To go from that Welsh Dragon look to this was like a downgrade for me. I think.
It was a bit
Yeah,
of a downgrade.
yeah.
You can do better, Taste.
And our final look came from Bimini. Oh, and I was so disappointed for them because the look was fantastic.
And they really had something to say with it.
And it wasn't just a reveal.
Yeah.
There was something really creative
A message.
going
Yeah.
to go on. If you've seen their Instagram, then you'll see that it was meant to burst into colours of the
Yes.
trans flag,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. This would have gone down as one of the best looks of the week for me, and this would have put Bimini in the top. So I am
Yeah.
gutted that it didn't go to plan,
Yeah.
because I think it overshadowed what was a fantastic
But
look.
Yeah, but I'm just very glad that it didn't put Bimini in the bottom because their performance in
Not a
the
chance.
Rusical was
Yeah.
just too good.
So the tops for the week were Veronica, Tia, and I'm assuming Ellie Diamond. The bottoms were Lawrence Chaney, Tace, and Cherry Valentine.
Yep.
And the safe girls were Bimini, Ahura, Ginny, Sister, and Astina.
When RuPaul read out those first names, I thought, there's the tops and bottoms.
tops. Yeah.
For me, the top two were very clearly Veronica and Tia, who
Yeah.
were both there.
Yeah.
The third position should not have been for Ellie. I thought when they called Ellie's name, I assumed she was going to be in the bottom.
Yeah.
And for me, that third spot was between Ginny and Bimini. Ginny's runway excelled, Bimini's didn't, therefore I would say Ginny was the third spot.
Yeah.
Ginny for us, yeah.
Ginny was like slept on this episode.
I thought Ginny was really slept on.
Yeah.
The bottom queens, Lawrence, Tace, Cherry, do you agree?
Yes.
Do you agree with those three?
Yeah.
Lawrence and Tate are a toss-up for me. I just don't know if maybe someone else should have been there instead.
Overall this week, compared to last week, I think the judging was more on point. There was nothing that I was like, huh? But that takes us to the untucked part of the episode, which, again, not a great deal happened, but this weird little Lawrence Chaney versus Sister moment came up, where Sister kind of seemed fed up. Now, earlier you made it quite apparent that you understood
Yeah.
Sister's point of view.
So I agree with Sister because at the end of the day, I'm not coming to a competition to be dealing with other people's emotions when I've got enough of my own. I'm not here to deal with you trying to get your airtime and your screen time, whatever, because I'm here to do the best that I can do. And Sister doing Sister's best required the help of Lawrence.
But you still support a girl who's upset. You can't get mad at someone for showing emotion.
Well, guess what, Mimi? I did. When I'm relying on you to do well, for my well-being as well, because if Lawrence fucked it up, it wouldn't have looked good and they might have all landed in the bottom. You never know what would have happened.
I think, as someone who
Right.
deals with emotion and is an empath, I think the way of dealing with someone who is upset, add to that Lawrence was in the bottom, you don't kick someone when they're down. I thought it was real.
In the moment, Sister didn't.
No, not in the moment. She waited till Lawrence was in the bottom and then went, you know what, you really ruined it for everyone. Why are you kicking someone when they're down? When someone gets upset in life, you don't just move on from it.
I understand, but I just think that we're talking about Lawrence feeling the pressure. Sister was feeling the pressure as well.
And that's how how Sister expresses.
Sister was feeling the pressure, and Sister thought,
Yeah.
I'm in danger because you can't get it together.
But I would like to make a point that our
Please.
considered top three was Veronica,
Yeah.
Tia, and Ginny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, last week, when we all had to say our one to watch,
Yeah.
we picked Veronica, Tia, and Ginny.
Did we? Did
Oh my god, we
So that was
did!
who we felt
We
did the best this
did.
episode, and I feel like all the girls that we picked as one to watch really
Yeah.
excelled.
Yeah.
Last week I got so many comments about everyone saying, "Oh, you're wrong about Veronica. Veronica's rubbish."
She's not rubbish.
It's not my
Period.
She is not rubbish. In fact, so much so that, spoiler alert, she's the winner.
She is the
We
winner
get
of
to
this
the main
week's
stage,
challenge.
and congratulations, Veronica Green. I feel like this week we all agree, correct?
Yeah.
Yes,
100%.
absolutely. Yeah.
As I said, found
It
Tia.
was
Tia
Veronica
was
Green,
funnier,
yeah.
but Veronica
Everyone
was
loved,
Veronica
yeah.
was a tick on all
Yeah.
marks, which takes us to the bottom two, which was Cherry and Tace, of which you agreed with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
For me, I think it should have been Tace and Lawrence, but I'm very glad it wasn't because they are my two picks to win.
Yeah.
So it was Taste and Cherry who we ended up with, and we had Elaine Page's Memories
Wow.
from Cats the Musical
Powerful.
as a lip sync song. Unlike any lip sync song I can think of in the history of Drag Race. On first watch, again, I was like, okay. I've watched it a second and third time, I get actual goosebumps watching Taste. Her face, the close-ups, the sort of, she does this like glance up near the end.
Taste was like
Taste was
the only bitch in that room.
All I'm going to say is I've seen Taste live and she kicks and she spins and she dips and I know she can do that. But standing ovation
She was
because it
great.
turns out she can do a ballad flawlessly too.
I
Flawless.
Very
Flawless.
I remember
very
saying last episode of ours that I'm like more invested in like lip syncs that are just embodying the song.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
And this was that lip sync. It was just so you had to focus on the queens because there wasn't anything else happening in the background. They were the performance. So do you know what? Massive props to two people who I wouldn't say are on first impressions in the season.
Would
lip
look to
syncs
be
doing ballads.
Absolutely.
Taste murdered it.
Yeah.
I could not take my eyes off that bitch.
Murdered.
And then when the camera was on Cherry, it just looked like a woman stood on the stage lip syncing a song.
For me, they went for very similar approaches, but there was a look in Taste's eye that was like, trust me, I've got this.
Yeah, she said,
And the look,
this is not a competition.
the look in Cherry's eye, there's a very fine line between looking emotional and looking nervous, and I thought she looked nervous, but Taste was so in control.
I tell you what, my anxiety is completely shot after this season so far because we've had two people on episode 1 in First Impressions where I've been like, I can see them going a while. I can see them going a long time. Bitch, we're at episode 3 and we've already lost 2 of them and I'm like, what the hell's going on?
This is the rule book. These ever producers just... Next week, I'm sure we'll lose
Yeah.
Taste
Don't
or
say,
Lawrence.
don't.
Next week,
Don't.
double elimination,
Oh
and
my
it's
God.
Taste and Bimini.
Don't
I think maybe,
manifest that.
I reckon
don't
all 10
manifest
queens
that.
are going next week. We're just going to get a fresh
10
batch.
way lip sync.
Oh.
Just because RuPaul's bored.
That's it. Next week we have the fashion challenge, and we will be here just like we've been for the past 2 weeks to discuss absolutely everything that's happening.
Absolutely.
But that's it for us. We're done again with another episode, dressed in our best red carpet glad rags.
So, glad drags. I love that.
We're looking
love that.
glamorous, aren't we?
Set-
I can't compare to these queens.
No, we all look fabulous. We've come today dressed for the musical. And I've been glamorous.
And we've been her two peasants in her shadow, hopefully looking a little less bored this week than she did last week.
And wearing her gloves. She's playing up to it now. You all told her that she was a mean queen, and now she's just like, oh, I'm gonna throw out memes here and there.
Y'all on the internet told her she was funny.
Y'all told her on the internet it was funny. I blame y'all.
That's all I'm saying. But that's it from us for the week. We hope you enjoy watching. If you have, then feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram at 2.5 Queens. We would love to see your support. We're updating on social media every single day to keep you going on the latest Drag Race and news. But that's it from us.
Absolutely.
So we love you and leave you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Please follow us. We are gorgeous and stunning.